Today I compiled 10 of my album reviews of the Rolling Stone 500 Greatest Albums of All Time list. Today I listened to album 210, a 1991 compilation album of Ray Charles' work entitled The Birth of Soul. I don't know if Ray Charles sang the first Soul song, it's definitely his first Superstar. This 2.5-hour album takes us from 1952 to 57, from scrappy jump blues and boogie-woogie to sophisticated sounds even jazzy soul pop. Some of the early tracks are a little unclear owing to the poor recording technology of the time, but Charles' rasp is more resistant to vocal deterioration than most. These kind of single artist anthologies can be difficult to sit through, but Charles' large repertoire of hits certainly makes it tolerable. The Jealous Should Have Been Me is an early highlight, evergreen hits like I've Got a Woman and This Little Girl of Mine keeps it engaging. Still, this is definitely more than the bare minimum of songs you need to hear from Charles. There are only so many love and love songs that you need to listen to in a row. The Birth of Soul is an encyclopedia of Charles' work in this time period. Nice to peruse now and then. We don't generally read encyclopedias from cover to cover. 3.1 out of 5. Today I listened to album 209, Run DMC's 1986 album Raising Hell. That'd be hard to imagine now, but hip-hop was once used as a novelty which could only get on the charts by chasing a rock audience. Indeed, Run DMC's first and biggest hit song is an Aerosmith collaboration. Other songs like It's Tricky and the title track feature rock elements as well, but to be honest, I'm not sure this was really to Run DMC's benefit. Their cover of Walk This Way is most significant for resurrecting Aerosmith's career. I feel like their more hip-hop focused tracks like Opener Peter Piper and Closer Proud to Be Black are more popular among the rap-core audience. What I mean is that Raising Hell sounds more like Limp Bizkit than Snoop Dogg. Nevertheless, Run DMC's third record is a valuable inclusion on this list. 3.3 out of 5. Today I listened to album 208, Lil Wayne's 2008 album The Carter 3. If Freud is correct, the oral stage is the first stage of psychosexual development. If that's true, then Lil Wayne has a lot of growing up to do, because The Carter 3 is very orally focused. He's not only into receiving on big hit Lollipop, but he's more than willing to give on Pussy Monster. I guess rapping in general is an oral activity, so it shouldn't be that surprising. Indeed, Lil Wayne was probably the biggest rapper in the world on his sixth album, and the hype leading up to its release was so strong that it became the best-selling album in 2008 despite being an overlong mess. It's a very diverse album, featuring elements of smooth R&B on Katrina polemic Tie My Hands, contemporary R&B on Babyface feature Comfortable, and psychedelia on Shoot Me Down, but I'm not a huge fan of the repetitive Emily and La La. There's bound to be something you like in this record, even if it's a bit of a disaster. 2.9 out of 5. Today I listened to album 207, the Eagles' 1972 self-titled album. Hotel California, guys? And we're on this ranking? Huh. Wait, they had the best-selling album of all time in the US? A greatest hits record? Wouldn't have expected that. Wait, a greatest hits record doesn't include Hotel California? Baffling. In this review, I'm critiquing the Eagles' comparatively humble first record, before they became the biggest rock band of all time in the US, and one-hit wonders in the rest of the world. The Eagles plied their trade in pleasant but rarely thrilling country rock. They had a knack for melody and hooks, it was rarely enough to obfuscate quite how corporate they sounded. Occasionally they rocked, like on Take the Devil and Closer Trying, but more often they meandered, like an opener and big hit Take It Easy and Train Leaves Here This Morning. Rarely bold, but sometimes they soar. 2.9 out of 5. Today I listened to album 206, David Bowie's 1977 album Low. David Bowie was in rehab, but traveled to one of the beating hearts of European culture at the time, West Berlin, with his friend Iggy Pop. Fortunately, Iggy's barely on this album. Instead, Low was made under the auspices of long-term producer Visconti and Psy, Brian Eno. Long-term followers know that I'm not a fan of Eno's clattering pain rock, and Bowie's 11th album is not an exception. The first side of the record is definitely more conventional, starting the best track, each one at the speed of life, for a handful of fairly normal rock songs. The second half of where it really goes off the rails, as the music becomes more and more atmospheric, textured, and synth-laden. Sure, it's superficially cool, but I feel that the record starts to lose identity at that point. Combine that with the fact that I don't like anything Eno has ever been involved with, and Low is a bit of a disappointment. 2.9 out of 5. Today I listened to album 205, Cat Stevens' 1970 album Tear for the Tillerman. 19 years before calling for the death of Salman Rushdie, Cat Stevens was still in tradition of vaguely left-wing protest folk rock. The album opener, Why Do the Children Play, is possibly the most direct, a gentle jungle pop call to protect the environment and the future in the same vein as Big Yellow Taxi, whereas Father and Son is about the struggle to break from the past, with Stevens playing both sides of the generational divide. But like many left-wing boyfriends before him and since, Stevens was also an asshole. His most famous song, Wild World, he passive-aggressively wishes his soon-to-be ex well while assuring her that she's safest by his side. Tea for the Tillerman is an eminently listenable album, but its gentle folk rock, combined with Stevens' sometimes overbearing singing, is not hugely remarkable. 2.8 out of 5. Today I listened to album 204, Kanye West's 2007 album Graduation. In a career defined by controversy, Kanye West's third album remains his career highlight. In Rap's very own Britpop battle, Graduation debuted at number 1 in the Billboard 200, outselling 50 Cent's Curtis by 250,000 copies in the first week and conclusively ending the gangster rap era of hip-hop. So what does the new era look like? Well, it samples from a wide range of influences, including Elton John on Open a Good Morning, Can on Drunk and Hot Girls, and Daft Punk on Big Hit Stronger. So it's also aiming for a bigger sound than most rap albums. Famously, this record is meant to be stadium rap, so West leaned into sing-along choruses, which invited stadium rock frontman Chris Martin onto Homecoming. Obviously, I'm not a rap fan. I find Drunk and Hot Girls catchy in the wrong way. Graduation is a decent record. 2.9 out of 5. Today I listened to album 203, Nick Drake's 1972 album Pink Moon. To be honest, I'd never heard of Nick Drake before listening to his third and final album. He very much fits into a classic music archetype, namely the sensitive, soft folk rocker who writes more but little ditties to cope with his depression. Just like Elliott Smith, who was obvious descendant, he died young and mysteriously. He had to die tragically to be compared to Drake. Justin Vernon is thankfully still with us. What ties these three artists together is a DIY, lo-fi sound, eerie, breathless singing, honest but slightly abstruse lyrics. Of course, Drake, Smith and Vernon all diverge from the description at times. When comparing their respective entries on the list, they're musical siblings. Without Drake setting it up, perhaps this kind of indie folk rock would never become big business in the 2000s. While Vernon would retire wealthy, Drake barely saw a penny from his musical career in his lifetime. 2.7 out of 5. Today I listened to album 202, Bjork's 1997 album Homogenic. Every time I listen to Bjork, it's like a hazing ritual. The anxious, stuttering beats, combined with Bjork's highly emotional, emphatic singing, is initially an astonishingly hostile bombardment of noise. Indeed, I was pretty negative about Bjork's previous record, Post, which is comparatively accessible, with stronger jazz and show-tuned influence. I think I'm starting to make some progress understanding why Bjork is one of the famous singer-songwriters of all time. Her icy vocal runs are complemented well with the sharp, jagged, electronic beats, and her lyrics are honest confrontation.
I'm so bored with cowards.
Some of the songs on Homogenic are still too abrasive for me right now, like the electro-punk Pluto. I have to admit that Bjork is growing on me. 2.7 out of 5. Today I listened to album 201, A Tribe Called Quest's 1993 album Midnight Marauders. A Tribe Called Quest is probably the most popular and famous alternative hip-hop group of all time. They achieved its reputation through a combination of jazzy but still hard-hitting instrumentals, the often positive and politically themed lyrics, and the ability to make more than one good record before completely flaming out. Tribe Called Quest successfully followed up their mainstream breakout, Low End Theory, with this record, which managed to maintain the good vibes. For example, Busta Rhymes turns on Oh My God after his breakout role in the previous record's Scenario. By incorporating the chorus on the close of God Rives Through, the record feels cohesive. Ultimately, however, I don't have too much to say about Midnight Marauders. It's not really my thing. 2.9 out of 5. Join me soon for another album review. Like, share, comment and subscribe.